Welcome to Spider-Verse Minute, the tri-weekly podcast where we watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 1 minute at a time. I'm Sean Slater.
And I'm his sister Caroline.
And today we watch minute 75, which opens with Kingpin pointing his gun at Miles and ending a minute later with Uncle Aaron telling how great of a guy Miles is.
I have titled this minute, More Tears Coming, / This Movie Loves to Make Me Cry. I cry a lot in this movie.
This minute and the next minute are probably...
some of the most heart-wrenching?
Yeah, it's either... This scene, I would say, is maybe tied for most emotional scene for me. The other one we haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah, I was going to say there were 3 moments in this movie that never fail to make me cry every time I watch it. One is the sequence of when Peter is announced to be dead in the very beginning.
Oh, yeah, that one's pretty good too.
Right? Like, gets me every time. Not gonna
That could
lie.
be number 4 for me.
Number 4?
I don't know what number 3 is, but...
this moment right here, like the whole moment.
Yeah.
And then I feel like your number 1 is the other one that never fails to make me cry. So I won't say it yet. We haven't gotten to it. Those 3 moments never fail to make me cry. I'm like, I'm a wreck.
But yeah, this is a very emotional beginning of through this. It gets emotional at the end of this, but before we get there,
this movie loves to make us cry. There's a reason I titled it that.
Yes. Peter jumping in, like, saving Miles is good. I like how Peter kind of, he has to, he uses the, like, web pulley away, kicking him in the back kind of move. And I always like that. It's such a, like, simplistic move of use the web to pull the bad thing away from the guy and then, you know, jump on them to
kick
to knock them out of the way.
It's the old 1-2.
Yeah.
Pull the weapon, then kick him.
And yeah, he got lucky. Although, like, that would be really terrifying for whoever, like, the bullet finally travels, whoever's house that goes through.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Because you're just sitting there and then suddenly, like, ping!
What the heck?
And maybe they get lucky and it just, like, goes into some dirt somewhere, but...
I think he got Gwen on it and caught the bullet, because we've established that Gwen's webs are faster than a bullet.
That's true. Yeah. Maybe she, while fighting Scorpion, just swung around and caught it and used it to hit Scorpion in the head or something.
Something like that. She had to hit a tree.
Yeah.
So the neighbor will be very confused. I'm like, why is there a bullet in our tree?
Yeah, and then I like how it kind of, like, Miles doesn't immediately run away. It takes him a couple seconds to, like, and for Peter to, you know, encourage him to move on, or to not move on, to go.
Get over it! It just happened.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to.
And just how he, like, when he picks up Aaron, it's not just, he's not able to swing away super gracefully. It's a very, like, still trying to figure out, like, how much web to use and everything. Like, it's still showing that he's not all there right now.
Yeah, I do say 2 things. One, this is another great example of just the Spider People's strength. Like, Miles picks up Aaron with relative ease, and it seems to be his bigger struggle is he's much taller than me, and he's awkward to hold.
Quite literally, almost both parts, like, both sides of his body are kind of dragging, like, his hands are dragging in the front, just kind his feet are dragging in the back.
Yeah. I love how they show Miles swinging past his dad's car.
Yeah.
Because I think it's either in the next minute or the minute after that we see that he decided to follow, and it makes sense. Like, it's just a nice little subtle way of being like, he saw something, so he followed it.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because his dad's not the first one on the scene, which is kind of nice. Of the, like, it shows him being the 6th car on the scene, and then another car, a 7th car, showing up, which, like, makes that next part where it does show Miles' dad that, like, he followed the 2 of them and not just him. Like, it's always a little weird. It would have been worse if he was the first car on the scene
and decided to leave and follow me. Yeah, no,
like,
that would have been
I'm
terrible.
gonna follow those two.
Like, that's suspicious.
Yeah. And yeah, they have the nice touch of, instead of showing Miles swinging with Uncle Aaron in his arms, they show the like shot of him from the dad's point of view, and then just shows like his legs in the back.
It's just this blur.
Yeah, I like the framing of that.
Yeah, it was very clever way, and then this way can say like, well, why didn't his dad realize that was Miles? It's like, well, you saw what he saw. You couldn't really tell who that was at all.
The one thing I did notice, that's a little odd, is as Miles is swinging into the alleyway, his mask is up, but when he left the roof, his mask was down.
He probably lifted it during swinging at some point.
Really? Like, come on. I think, I feel like maybe the tree started to pull it off or something, or they just made a mistake because, like...
It could be also a mistake.
His hands are sort of occupied. Like, it's not like he had a free hand to lift his mask up.
Fair point.
It would have just been... It also makes sense coming in, like, not having to have him pull it up.
Yeah.
With it already up, he can just go straight into that. And so I'm guessing they, like, this was probably decided on before the rooftop scene was. And I remember them saying in the animators commentary that this was the first scene they did with Uncle Aaron. This was the first scene they animated with him.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
How morbid.
And so they have this, and then
what a way to introduce an animation to a character. Jeez.
Yeah. And then went back and would have done I'm guessing the fight scene was a bit later, and they probably added that, like, oh, it'd be really cool if they pulled his mask down, but then didn't put the two things together. But, like, it's not really something you notice. You only notice it when you're looking for it. It's not something you pick up.
Yeah, honestly, I never picked it up until you just pointed it out. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And part of that is too, like, you're so caught up in the moment that, like, you're not looking for those details. Speaking of being caught up in the moment, my heart first breaks. It breaks multiple times in this moment. My heart first breaks when Miles sets Uncle Aaron on the ground in the alley and decides to shatter me right away by saying, this is my fault.
Yeah. They do Miles's guilt really well here.
It breaks me every time. Immediately to be broken by Aaron taking his hand out of the metal glove, which that thing is huge compared to his hand, I just realized.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that is huge. I'm like, who made that for you?
That's why he's able to punch through walls without breaking his hands.
Clearly. Like, those are bigger than boxing gloves. But yeah, like, to go back to Miles, like, his guilt. Yeah. It's so shattering to see Miles like that.
And me. Like, it's one of the easy, like, you can easily see why he thinks that as well. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not one of those where, like, oh, it's all my fault, and it's clearly not their fault at all.
It's like, what are you talking about? You're like,
but it's very easy to see how Miles connected, like, oh, me revealing myself to Uncle Aaron caused Uncle Aaron not to do this. And if I hadn't even gone, back down there in the first place, and seen what happened, like, then you would have never started chasing me, those couple of nights ago.
I really can't put, like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, how do I put the pain I'm currently feeling in my heart? Because I'm reliving it right now. I can feel it. Like, how do I put the pain I'm feeling in my heart into words? I can't. This is the lowest we see Miles.
Yeah. I think,
or it's getting him there to the lowest. Like we see, it's the start of the lowest of Miles.
yeah, this is what really like they could have not done this and still had the rest of the third act build him up from where he was, but then this bit here is just like, let's just kick him down a couple more times.
Let's break him. Let's shatter the audience. I want to be able to drink a full wine glass of tears. They did a great job of like, both the voice actor and the animators did a great job of showing Aaron in pain and still trying to like comfort Miles.
Yeah.
It's like, gosh, just stop for like 2 seconds.
And you can tell like he really, really cares for Miles. Like his you're the best of all of us, just like him being like,
cue me being a sobbing mess.
Yeah, just the like him trying. I like that it's him trying to be like, not necessarily like he says he wanted Miles to look up to him, and it's that kind of like, I don't want you to know about this part of me because I don't want you like it is a bit selfish being like, oh, I wanted you to only know about the good parts of me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, he wants him to only know about those parts because he wants Miles to only emulate those parts and try to emulate those parts instead of being like, but look how cool Uncle Aaron is, and like he's cool because of the crime he does.
Yeah.
Versus the just like, oh, Uncle Aaron's a cool dude and he does nice things for me. And
yeah, like it's different from like Uncle Aaron understands what I'm going through, and like I can talk with him and he's really cool because he listens to me. Yeah. And like Uncle Aaron had some cool gear and he got it by being a criminal. And
he also, like, again, kind of the selfish take on it is him not wanting to expose Miles to that criminal side, because if he does, then he's much more likely to not be able to see Miles, because then his parent, like if Miles's parents found out that Miles knew about Aaron's crime, then they definitely wouldn't. Like, they already are reluctant enough letting him interact with Aaron, and so if they found out this part of it, then it would be a big no-no.
Yeah, and it could also even be a sort of thing of like, Aaron sees a lot of Jeff and Miles.
Yeah.
Too, and so he's probably worried, like, if I show this crime side, he's gonna stop communicating me just like Jeff did.
Yeah.
Too. Like, there's probably that as well in there. Listen, Aaron had a lot of reasons not to expose us to Miles. And like the line, like, you're the best of us, Miles, hits me really hard. But I also love, like, just the apology he's saying beforehand. Like, he's like, when Miles says, no, this is all my fault, Aaron's quickly like, no, man, like, I'm sorry. Like, he's taken the acceptance for it.
Yeah. Well, he's not accepting it because it's not like he's not accepting the premise that Miles is trying to put forth of it being his fault. He's like, no, it's not your fault. I'm not accepting any apology that you want to try to give.
No, that's sort of what I meant. I also just love this line of like, you're the best of all of us. He's not saying, like, it's very unselfish of him to say in many ways, because it's like, he's not saying, you're better than me or anything. It's very much, he's like including Miles' mom and his dad and his uncle and like all other family members that maybe we haven't met so yet. Like, it's like you collected the best of all of those.
Yeah.
Those things. And I love how he just kind of sort of included everyone. That's how I took the line anyway. And
yeah, and like the impact of this speech of this interaction that both of them have is, again, the voice actors do a great job. One of the things that they said in the behind the scenes stuff was that Mahershala while giving Uncle Aaron's speech was actually like laying on his side doing it, and so like they had to like rig the recording booth a little bit funny, because of like, you know, him being a lot lower. They had to like lower the mic and everything. And but like it's that kind of sort of in character, like embodying what the character's poses are.
It's a method.
Nice.
It's a method acting sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like I do similar things when I'm doing stage acting. This is part of the reason I get a little mad at people who say like voice acting is easy. No, it's not. It's extremely difficult. Because you still have to get very physical with it a lot of times. Because there are just some things you can't fake and make sound good. Or it's very hard to do. Some of those things is being breathless. Like even on stage, I had to do a thing where I was breathless. And I literally ran up and down my school's hall just to get more out of breath for the scene. Lying on your side, like doing things like that. It's a method of acting because there's just some things you can't fake easily. I do a similar thing. I tend to do a little more of the traditional method where I don't go fully in the character's head, but like I'll hold on to props or I'll wear certain things that I feel the character would wear just so I can stay in their head. Because if you do that, the easier it is to, for me anyway, to portray that character truthfully.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to add?
No, that's all I had for this minute.
Same here, that's all I had. Thank you everyone for listening to this week's episodes. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us on Twitter at SpiderverseMin, M-I-N, or you can reach us at Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Spiderverse Minute, or you can shoot us an email at podcast@spiderverseminute.com. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Bye.